These are the Fantasy Facts presented by Gridiron Experts with your hosts, Pat Loftus and Seth Keller.
Welcome back, everybody. I realize you got the thing up. Yeah, I know. I'm a lot of energy tonight. I'm back. I'm excited. I realize how serious I look because you can only see like a little bit. I just look like I'm so deep in thought. I'm really not. I'm just trying to look for a really funny GIF to quote tweet on the show. So it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back.
You survived the stomach
Wednesday.
Bug flu, whatever thing was ripping.
Yeah, I got the
dreaded.
I got the dreaded email from the school last week that the stomach bug was going around, and everyone in my house proceeded to get sick. So yay me!
Yeah, that's
I was the last one to get it. I got it like Friday, Saturday. So yeah, tons of fun.
Good for you. Sounds like a blast.
So, yeah, we're back. It's Wednesday. We're a day late on our regularly scheduled show, but as I was complaining to Seth earlier, just work has been crazy, and I'm still catching up from last week, and I think Seth's got a lot of the same stuff going on. So here we are.
Plus, it was my birthday weekend, too. I'm just going to throw that out there. Happy birthday to myself. Cheers, brother. Yeah, cheers. And then there's like a ton of state reporting that's due for schools in New York State, like this week and the next couple weeks. So it's kind of a shit show. But let's let the people know where they can find us, so that when we're not so stressed out with work, we can be even that much more enjoyable and fun than we will be tonight. We'll still be enjoyable and fun because this is what we love doing, but. It
might not show on our faces because we're both exhausted, but we really enjoy this. Yes. Yeah. So you can find the show. The show is at GX Fantasy Facts. Seth is at FFB at Home. Dad, I'm at Dynasty_Pat. We are still running a couple of promos. We've got the special with Viridian Global. Use the code FAQS FAQS at checkout to save 10%. There it is.
Beautiful.
FAQS FAQS at checkout, and we've still got the underdog promo going. Seth, do we still have our commercial? Or are we just gonna? So. There it is.
There it is. It's beautiful.
We'll let that run and be quiet for a minute. I still look at that one part where he's throwing the money, and I think of Step Brothers. Investors, possibly you.
You said we were going to be quiet, and the whole time I'm holding my tongue going, psst, Pat, I never added sound to it. We totally should have added sound.
I know there's no sound to it. I figured our commentary would be better. Anyway.
When we put this out on audio, the people are going to be like, what the hell is happening?
I know.
Sign up for Underdog at Underdog. At Underdog Fantasy. Or underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code FAQS. Use any of the links that Pat or I have out on Twitter or attached to the show, and you'll be able to get yourself a free $10 when you sign up and deposit your first $10. You can use that right now. Time's running out, but you can use that right now for the Resurrection. It is week 6 to week 17 tournament. So if you miss the best ball, like the puppy or the big dog, you now have an opportunity for the Resurrection. I love the name because it's like, hey, my fantasy team is dead. What do I do with my life now? Because my team is about to go 0-6 and I'm losing fun in my home league. Not me, Pat. I'm at least 1-4 in one. I think that's my worst league. I'm 1-4 in. But you get the opportunity to resurrect the fun, the excitement, the joy of playing fantasy again. Having that draft in the middle of the season. If you drafted Cam Akers early and he blew out his knee, his Achilles, and you were like, wow, that sucks. Guess what? You don't draft him now. All the players that, you may have been high on in the beginning of the season that didn't pan out, now you don't have to draft them, like Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a good one, right? Because I have him in way too many places.
Yeah. All right. Shall we? The opening question?
We shall.
Pop one open?
It's time to pop one open with the opening question.
All right. This week comes from @Vike_FF asking us, or asking the fantasy Twitter community, who scores more fantasy points the rest of the season, Joe Mixon or Kareem Hunt? You go first.
I honestly just don't trust Joe Mixon and his what seems like never-ending questionable status. So I'm going to lean Kareem Hunt there, and I think part of it is the Browns. You're never sure what you're going to get, and that means that Kareem Hunt will only be game planned out if it is like a complete blowout and Nick Chubb is perfectly healthy. And that doesn't seem to be the most probable outcome happening in the future, with Cleveland having just these ridiculous blowouts. Cleveland's played from behind a couple of games. That's what's gotten Hunt involved. They're having a ton of injuries at the wide receivers. Landry's been on IR. I think he comes back in a couple weeks. I'd have to double check that. But
he'll be back soon. Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. has been objectively awful this year.
And Hunt is essentially an extra wide receiver out there. Like he has the skill set to do it. So
he is a I mean, all right, I know the question asks fantasy points the rest of the season, and I find it hard to overlook the fact that Kareem Hunt is currently the RB6 in PPR formats at 93.4 points. Joe Mixon is RB14 at 67.7. Kareem Hunt RB6, Joe Mixon RB4. Kareem Hunt has got 26 more points to date than Joe Mixon. I don't see Kareem Hunt, his role changing more the rest of the season, right? Because of all the things you just said, right, Seth? Because you don't see these big blowout games on either side for Cleveland. And really, if Cleveland's getting blown out, you'll probably see more Kareem Hunt to get involved in the passing game. I think Hunt has carved out a better role in the Cleveland offense than Mixon has in the Cincinnati offense, even though Mixon is the 1A running back in that offense where Hunt is 1B behind Nick Chubb. I have a hard time believing that Joe Mixon is going to outscore Kareem Hunt the rest of the season.
Yeah. And the sad part is the way Kareem Hunt scores, there's going to be weeks where Mixon is going to play better, but over the course of the season, it is going to be I feel like it's going to be pretty overwhelmingly Hunt, unless there's some kind of injury to Hunt, which he doesn't have the injury-prone moniker history that Mixon does. So you're better off with Hunt in the chance that he gets a 30-point game. One, because you probably have him as your third running back, depending on what kind of running backs you drafted in originally, right, or what you were able to pick up. So yeah, you're probably flexing Hunt, or he's your RB2, which I have no hesitation about putting a guy like Hunt in that. Yeah, he's going to throw a stinker out there every once in a while, but he's also going to drop like a 30-point week where, he gets 5 to 10 catches, 100 all-purpose yards and a touchdown or two. Like he puts those type of weeks up, and he's already done it, twice? Has it been 3 times already this season that he's put up that, a 20 plus week?
Yes. Yeah, I have more faith in Kareem Hunt than I do in Joe Mixon. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Okay. To the news desk. lot to cover here. Let's start. We'll just go right down the list. We'll start with the quarterbacks, and at the top, what a gruesome injury this was for Russell Wilson. This is from Matt and Betts at the Fantasy PT. I'd never heard this term before, but it's called mallet finger. Mm-hmm. So I guess you're unable to straighten the finger. That happened. And Wilson is out at least 6 weeks. And then I was listening to, or forget who was talking about it. They're basically saying he undergoes surgery, and if he doesn't let it fully heal, like he tries to do too much too soon, he bends that finger, he tears it again. Like it's such a thin like tendon and like muscle in there that if the possibility of just shredding that, starting over, is very high if he bends it too early, basically.
Yeah. So I had mallet thumb at one point, where my thumb literally was just like this, mm-hmm. and the only way to straighten it out was to do that. Mm-hmm. And so what they had to do was they had to cut into this finger, take one of the tendons from the index finger, and rerun it up through my thumb. So now when I try and move my thumb, you can see my finger starts wiggling at the same point, even though I'm trying to keep this one straight. And so I had to go through therapy to try and actually make, like you start with just like your thumb is just stuck in this position so that it can heal.
Funny. Yeah.
And then eventually like trying to get back like strength and stuff like that. And I probably, I am not a professional athlete. I don't get paid to rehab. He does. Whereas like I probably skimped a little bit on my rehab, and that's why I got the little finger, the little wiggly finger like that. But he is probably going to heal completely. He probably won't have anything like that. But there is like, if it's a similar type of thing where like I had, like it happened due to like, there was like nerve damage for mine also. So like if that's the case for him as well, there could be a lot more things going on. Like I had to go and get multiple tests, which I'm sure at this point Russell Wilson has probably already had. I had to do like MRIs. What's the thing they do to pregnant ladies? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's the
ultrasound.
That I had to do an ultrasound. I had to do like this thing where they like hooked my arm up to like electrodes, and like just dude was like playing the like piano and like forcing my fingers to like move even though I didn't want them to. He was just over there like tapping away and just making me do all this, and like my thumb just stayed like that. So like there's a lot that goes into it because it's trying to figure out what exactly what exactly is happening that's causing it to not extend, because there's a multitude of different ways that could happen. And so, yeah, I am not excited about the outlook for Wilson, even if he does come back. What's nice is there's the extended season. So he'll come back like week 12-ish, something like that, hopefully. And your playoffs probably won't start till week 14. So you'll get like maybe 2 weeks of, wait, is he actually good? Before you're in a situation where you're like, I have Russell Wilson or Geno Smith. I have Russell Wilson or, Matt Ryan, who just had a couple good games, but has thrown out some real duke earlier on in the season, right? Like you don't want to start Russell Wilson in that playoff matchup if you don't know if he's recovered from injury yet.
Not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a couple of concussions. Daniel Jones. I'm not laughing. But man, that was one of the nastier concussions that I've seen live. Daniel Jones and Taysom Hill both concussed out. mean, technically week to week. Mm-hmm. But I saw some video clips on the Twitters earlier that Daniel Jones was running and doing things in the background of practice, but not actually practicing, if that makes sense. So he might be, I don't know how, but he might be closer to return than we actually think. But again, week to week.
Yeah, it's because concussions are tricky. They're, you
could be like Ty Williams, who gets concussed and misses 7 weeks, or Daniel Jones, who might miss 72 hours.
Yeah, and that's the truth with concussions is there's no like set concussion. Like what happens, right? Everyone deals with it differently, and each concussion for a person is different as well. So definitely something to monitor. I picked up Mike Glennon in a super desperate super flex league, partly because somebody doubled my bid for Geno Smith, and I was like, I thought I went high. I went at like 30. I went at 33% of my fab budget for Geno Smith. Somebody dropped 65. What?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
What? Yeah. So yeah, there's that. But worth throwing it out there. Pick up Geno. Yeah. Pick up Mike Glennon if you're super desperate. It's not going to be pretty, but like my other options were like Nick Foles, who's out and hasn't played a snap yet, and some other bum that got hurt. I can't remember, but whatever. Yeah, moving along. Yep. Next up.
So the next ones are a couple of knee injuries to rookie quarterbacks. Justin Fields, hyperextended knee, listed as week to week. Trey Lance, and this was kind of a sneaky one that didn't really notice much, but it's a left knee sprain. He is out 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, rookie quarterbacks are struggling.
Yeah,
they are not the. Oh my God, everybody is a must-start rookie quarterback, and every rookie quarterback is the greatest thing to happen to the game of football since, the forward pass. They're struggling, and this isn't like trying to victory lap. It's just saying what it is. They're struggling, and now they're struggling with injuries, right? And that could do one of two things for them. One, it could kind of be like that. All right, you were in game action, like full-fledged, like you were leading it, and now you're going to sit out and watch what's happening now, right? So when you were just holding the clipboard for the first couple weeks and, weren't actually in that, fast-paced game for 4 full quarters, you're trying to take in everything that's happening. And then when you actually get into it, now you have a little bit of that experience so that you can kind of like, now when you look at it again, you can go, I can see where the defense is here now. I see what the defense is trying to do to me. I see where my receiver just needed a split second more to be open. Or I see where him moving slightly to the right to, move sideways in the pocket stopped him from being able to see that open receiver, where if he just moved up in the pocket, he may have been able to see him and get that completion. You hope that that's the pathway they take, where they're able to start like really seeing the game in a different light because they got to play it, and now they get to kind of sit back and watch and go, oh, when I face a defense that's doing this, I'm going to do this next. And hopefully it helps them when they do get back on the field. And sounds like at least a week for both of them, but maybe 2.
The good news is, at least for Taysom Hill and Trey Lance, is they both the 49ers and the Saints are on bye this week.
Good point.
So they
don't play them anyways.
Yeah, they get a little bit. They get some extended rest. So. That does it for quarterback injuries, and that was a lot of them. Let's get into running backs. Saquon Barkley. Barkley.
Remember before the season, Pat, you and I were like, Saquon just keeps slipping. He's going to be a late first or even early second, and he's going to be such a steal. And he keeps dealing with these like nagging injuries now, and he still has the ability to go off. It's just that like
he has the ability to go off the field in a cart.
Yeah.
Because he's injured. This is a left ankle sprain.
Yeah.
They're calling 2 to 4 weeks. Not good. Yeah. Not good, Bob.
No. I mean, he's currently a top 20 running back. He's like 17th. But it's just
even if he comes back on the shorter end of that timeline, let's say it's 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be 100%. Like, it's going to be Thanksgiving before we see a fully healthy 100% Saquon Barkley. And that's if capital I, capital F, nothing else happens.
Yeah. And the sad part is you saw when he got, his 20-ish touches that he scores 20 to 30 fantasy points. In week 3 and week 4, he was at 21 and 29 PPR points. The issue is the first 2 weeks he was still kind of working his way in. And then in week 5, he got hurt. He got hurt with only 2 rushing attempts and a target. And so he finished with less than a point. Like if you're hurt, you're not going to score a lot of fantasy points. Boom. Fact. Fantasy analysis right there. That's what you come here for.
That's right. Let's go to CEH next. Clyde Edwards-Helaire out 2 to 4 weeks with a left MCL sprain. He was placed on IR as of yesterday, I believe. So we're looking 3 weeks minimum. Hopefully, at the end of 3 weeks, when he's eligible to return, he is back to 100% because he was just starting to get right. He had no, that's not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Where is he? He had put together, decent game against the Chargers, backed it up with another, 100 yards and another receiving touchdown against the Eagles, and then goes out against a really good Bills defense and gets hurt. So he was getting there. And the Chiefs had a nasty week with injuries, but we'll get to some more of them later. But yeah, CEH on IR, out 3 to 4 weeks. You should just go ahead and fire up all the Darrell Williams, he said, with a question mark. Yeah. Darrell Williams? Damian Williams is in Chicago. So Darrell.
Darrell Williams. And what was the thing that was just in the news? Was it
Jerick McKinnon?
Well, there's Jerick McKinnon. They also just was working out somebody. Was it Marlon Mack? God, I kind of hope so. Just for
I don't think they were working him out because Mack is still playing for the Colts.
Okay, I'll find it. Go on to the next one.
Damian Harris for the Patriots. It's a rib injury. There's no real. They're not broken. They're not. It's just a rib injury. He took a couple of big hits. They're calling it week to week. So monitor practices. Maybe see if Ramondre Stevenson is available if you're in a pinch. PPR leagues, maybe take a look at Brandon Bolden. But again, if and only if it's ruled that Harris is out this week.
And I just scrolled through and saw that he didn't practice today, so it's not helpful that he's out now. Yeah. So,
and it doesn't. I mean, they're playing Dallas, who is a halfway decent team against the run. So maybe just avoid that entire backfield for this week. All right, I'm going to skip wide receivers for now and go down to tight ends because there's only 2 tight ends to talk about. First one is Max Williams, ACL tear. Max Williams out in Arizona, ACL tear. He requiring season-ending surgery and will go on injured reserve. No surprise there. And the other major tight end injury this week, again, Kansas City, Travis Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
So they're calling it a stinger, and it's a nerve injury in the shoulder, neck area. He's day to day. So keep an eye on Travis Kelce. I can't imagine with the position that the Chiefs are in the middle of what is like their prime championship runs, that they're going to look at shutting down Kelce any longer than they absolutely have to, unless he's really hurt. Yeah. So if it's just a stinger, I expect him to be on the field. I expect him to be ready to go to play Washington this week.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And the Chiefs brought Elijah McGuire onto their practice squad. I really thought there was someone else, but I can't find it now.
If you had said like Todd Gurley or Adrian Peterson, I'd been a little more excited.
Yeah. And they activated Derek Gore.
Is that Frank Gore's son?
I kind of hope so, but I really don't think so. And I got to Google it, but are you Googling it also?
I am. Oh, come on. Derek Gore's 26, so I don't think it's Frank Gore's kid.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I really want it to be though as well.
Yeah, no, that's like one of the things you want it to be. That I want to say Frank Gore's son is still in college, though, isn't he?
I think you're right. Frank Gore's only 38, so the odds of him having a 26-year-old are pretty slim. Yeah. All right, let's move to wide receivers. There were a bunch this week, and in no particular order. We got Kenny Golladay, hyperextended knee, out for week 6. The Giants took a beating this week with injuries too, and I believe it wasn't. I missed one here. It wasn't just Golladay that got hurt, right? Didn't they lose another wide receiver? Did they lose Shepard?
Well, Shepard and Slayton were both out in that game. And that's what opened the door for Tony, who had himself a great week. But I want to say, I know Slayton was at practice, and I think Shepard returned to practice also. We'll have to pull that one up real quick now too. But I know Slayton returned to practice, and I think Shepard did as well.
Nope. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back now.
All right, I'm back. Who else got hurt for the Giants wide receivers in week 5? I may be wrong, but no, just Golladay. Okay, so Galladay's out week 6. Giants took a beating this week with injuries.
And just a beating in general because the Cowboys whooped up on them.
True.
Kadarius Toney did.
No, he didn't get hurt. I mean,
he tweaked something. He got ejected, but there was something that he was on the injury report. Evaluated for likely fine, but no suspension. There was another one that was in there for Tony, but Giants had a walkthrough practice status as a projection. Saquon Barkley ankle, Kenny Golladay knee, Daniel Jones concussion, O-line Matt Sukra knee, OT Andrew Thomas foot, and a DB Roderick Williams.
I thought either Shepard or Slayton, somebody else was okay.
Yeah, Shepard and Slayton were both practicing, and Tony were all practicing today. So
okay, all right. Juju Smith-Schuster, right shoulder dislocation, out for the year.
Just adding on to the decline of Juju.
I mean, his time he was on I believe a 1-year deal. His time in Pittsburgh is done.
Yeah.
Not the best way for him to go out. But Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, not bad consolation prizes.
Yeah. Too bad. Ben Roethlisberger did look much better. Well, at times against Denver, even though there was a bunch of times where he threw the ball and the defender was like this close and the ball just barely made it past. So he I don't want to make it sound like he looked phenomenal, but he did have a good game, and he was that split second ahead of the defense because there was a lot of plays where the ball just barely squeaked past the defender in order to get into Chase Claypool or Deontay Johnson's hands. So, it's tough to be enamored with those two guys with Ben still throwing the ball, but they definitely have the talent and ability to really show out. So excited for him.
Tyreek Hill has a knee sprain, is considered dated. It's a minor knee sprain. I'm not expecting him to miss any time, but it's day to day. He'll probably not practice, but I fully expect him to be ramped up, good to go for the game against Washington. Curtis Samuel re-injured the same. I can't say the same groin, but you know what I mean. He re-injured the groin injury, likely to land back on IR. Just another 3 weeks.
Yep. And anybody excited for Curtis Samuel this season has got to, at this point, you're probably in, well, you would have been drafting him late anyways, but you're probably in a little bit of a hole because you've been kind of holding out hope for him and taking up roster space, holding out hope for him.
Hopefully you've just had him on your IR and you haven't had to.
Yeah, if you have an IR or if you have room for him on your IR, because I got a couple leagues where it's like, all right, well, who do I want to put in the IR this week and try and, rotate them around and see if there's, who can I cut that I just don't have faith in to come back healthy, and he might be one of them for this season where he just might not come back healthy, or when he finally does,
it's gonna be like week 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be
like
too late
12.
for gonna be too late for some of the some of the teams that you have that are right now struggling.
Right. This one hits close to home. My Lions and Quintez Cephas. It's a left shoulder fracture, clavicle fracture. They're calling it likely that he's out for the remainder of the season. Yeah. And honestly, if you're him, why the Lions aren't playing for anything? Get healthy, come back next year.
Yeah. I mean, it's really sad because he was starting to come on as like one of their best options. And it was kind of great to see that happen, especially with so much turbulence over like the off season, at least in like Twitter and fantasy football circles and stuff like that, about people trying to argue about who was going to be it.
I guess if you listen to our show, we talked a lot about liking Cephas and predicting good things, not big things, but good things for him. I mean, it was clear he was going to be the number 2 behind Hockenson. And again, he showed out the first couple of weeks, and then, it sucks.
Poor Cephas breaking his collarbone. Hopefully he comes back healthy. I don't want to say at the end of this year because, like you said, they're probably not playing for much. But hopefully he comes back healthy and the Lions start putting some better things out there on offense that he can continue to grow along with.
So the last 2 here are both hamstring strains, and both these players are considered week to week. The first is Deontay Harris. Now, again, Saints are on the bye this week, so he has time. He gets the week rest, but no guarantee he's good to go in 2 weeks because for how he plays, he's a speed guy, and having a hamstring injury is not great. The other is Sammy Watkins. He's week to week with a hamstring strain as well. And Sammy Watkins does kind of have a history of hamstring injuries, which bodes well for everyone that has either been holding or just picked up Rashad Bateman, because I'm one of those guys. I got to see him play because Lamar Jackson looks really good this year throwing the ball, and I got to see what he can do in that offense. I got to see Rashad Bateman. So
yeah,
I'm not wishing Sammy Watkins ill will or a lengthy injury, but I want to see Rashad Bateman real bad. So if he's hurt and can't play, it's not the end of the world.
It just opens the door for Bateman to get in there, and hopefully he can do something. And if he can't, then, maybe a lot of people were wrong about Bateman, myself included, because I got him sitting on my IR in a couple of spots, just waiting for him to come off.
Yes.
So yeah,
Same.
Yep.
Same.
All right.
Oh boy, a lot of injuries to cover. I know. It's every week. So.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the schedule and let's get into week 6. First, though, the Jets, the Falcons, the 49ers, the Saints are all on a bye. Do not start anyone on those 4 teams. Even
if you are trying to tank to get yourself a 101 pick, it is bad form. Bad form, sir.
Don't do it.
You have to play somebody that's actually playing a game.
Yes.
It's part of the rules of tanking. If you don't have rules for tanking for your league, you need to get them as soon as possible.
Just make it look good. All right. Yeah. So those 4 are out. So you're not playing anybody there. Week 6 kicks off tomorrow night. Tampa Bay, Philly. That's not a game that it's Thursday night, so I'll watch a little bit of it, but it's not really a game that I have too much interest in. So
I feel like we're gonna get the exposure of Jalen Hurts, and I'm not saying that just because I got rid of one share of him in a league earlier today. 2 seconds for Jalen Hurts in a single QB league. I feel like that's a pretty good deal. But
hopefully they're earlier middle seconds.
The one, so it's the 22 is a mid, and there's like a 24 that who knows what the 24 is going to be. I pushed real hard for 23.
I hate when people ask, we are starting 2024 picks. Like, dude, no, I don't want 2024 picks. Now, too soon.
Yeah,
but that's me. That's how I operate my dynasty teams. Picks that far out are meaningless.
I kept really trying to push for 23 because I was like, I've been stockpiling picks for 23 because I think that's going to be just a phenomenal draft class.
You and everybody else.
Yeah. I'd already planned to tank for 23, but now it's
smart. All right, so I've got a couple games that I like. I can talk about them if you want. Unless you've got one right off the bat,
fire it up, Pat. You go first.
It's the London game this week. It's Miami at Jacksonville in London. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure Tua is going to be back. I got to double check that. But even if he's not, I think that's going to be a great game for Miami because Jacksonville's terrible. I think that we're going to see, as much as it pains me because Myles Gaskin burned me in week 5, we're going to see the Myles Gaskin show again. I just think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be fun to watch because you get to see the kind of the full potential of that Miami Dolphins offense, and you get to see Trevor Lawrence. He's looked good the last couple of weeks. He's starting to pick things up. He's looking sharper. I'm going to go back because I missed the show last week, but I'm going to go all the way back to week 4, Cincinnati, Jacksonville on Thursday night. Trevor Lawrence looks good. I didn't get to see much of him this past week in week 5, but he's starting to look good right now. It sucks they lost DJ Chark, but you still got Marvin Jones. You still somehow have fucking James Robinson, who is just the UDFA that won't go away. I have a feeling, though, it could burn me because this could be like a 10-7 game, but this could also be like a coming out party. And it's one of those games where it's like, all right, it's 9:30. I'm gonna turn the game on and I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna enjoy it because it's football at 9:30. But I also feel that the Dolphins could just put on a fucking show and just absolutely house Jacksonville.
Yeah, my take on this one is you have two offenses with potential.
Mm-hmm.
They're not superstars. They're not, making a push for offensive powerhouse by any means, but they're also like two defenses that aren't really that great either. And so you're either going to get a point scoring fiesta where it's like Oprah out there, everybody gets a touchdown, or you're going to get just a sloppy football game where everybody's off. And I think I think you're probably, I hope for everyone's enjoyment that it's the touchdown fiesta. But I could definitely see it go the other way where it's just like, man, this is sloppy.
So I'm looking at RotoWire, and this is defense versus position. Mm-hmm. The Dolphins are 26th against quarterbacks. The Jaguars are 17th. The Dolphins are 31st against the run. The Jaguars are 26th against the run. The Dolphins are 28th against wide receivers. The Jaguars are 17th. And against tight ends, I have to look a little bit hard here. The Dolphins are 19th. The Jaguars are 22nd. So, yeah, there's potential here. Mm-hmm. There's a potential for, I'm not going to call it a shootout, but there's some bad defenses out there. So,
yes.
So here's a good one. The over-under, according to Sporting News, is 45.5.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to like the over here and possibly take the over.
Yeah, I think there's probably like a 70-30 chance that you're going to get the over on this game because, like I said, I think the defenses are bad enough that the offenses are going to be able to put up points, even if it's just like a broken play, a broken coverage, something like that. But man, that like other 30% is like a nagging 30% where it's like, oh, it's a London game. It's going to be real hard to tell what we're actually going to get out of that game, right?
Right.
So I'm going to follow your lead here, and I'm going to go ahead and attack another game.
So hold that for what I just said, because I brought it up. Tua did practice. He returned to practice today for the first time. Yep. So I'm liking his chances to play this week. Anyway, continue.
If he plays, I like them. Oof. I don't know. I don't like the over anymore. If he plays, I think I like it just about the same. But the game that I'm going to go after is another game with just abysmal defenses, and one of the teams everybody knows is going to be playing their studs there, and the other team there's not nearly as many studs, but they're probably going to get played also. And that's the Chiefs and Washington football team. This is a game where those two defenses are so bad that I could see this game being like over 80 points just because like the Chiefs have the potential to score 50 points. And the Washington football team, I don't think it's not going to be a boat race. They don't have the offensive firepower to do that, but I could see them getting 4 scores against this defense. I could see them getting, 28, 30 points, something like that, where this game, this game ends like 55-30. Like that's or 55-31, right? Like that's an outcome that I could see this game hitting, and especially if this is a game where, and Antonio Gibson's been dealing with like a little bit of a nagging injury, but if he's feeling a little bit better and he plays, this is the type of game where if Antonio Gibson doesn't get worked in more and he doesn't get one of those big plays, I'm not going to be off of Antonio Gibson because I've never been that strongly like on Antonio Gibson. but it's going to be really difficult to put him into starting lineups if you're not confident with putting him in against the Chiefs, who in half PPR, they're 11th in giving up points to running backs. The Chiefs are first in giving up points to quarterbacks, 11th in giving up points in wide receivers, and 5th in giving up points to tight ends. They're giving up points all over the field. Now they faced some pretty good competition, like the Bills recently have a really good offense. But if you can't start Antonio Gibson in this matchup, like and feel good about it, right? That's really what it is. If you can't start him and feel good about it in this matchup, then man, I don't know how many others are going to come along where you are going to feel good about starting him.
So the over-under is 55.5.
Yeah.
I definitely like the over. 80 points seems to be a bit much. However, one of these teams definitely has the firepower to get you more than halfway there, which is all it takes. Again, I'm with you. I'm liking the over here. I like the take on Antonio Gibson because this is. I'm sorry. Did you say where the Chiefs were?
Yeah, and half PPR, they're giving up the 11th most points to running backs.
Full PPR, yeah, they're the 23rd worst, giving up 26.7 points per game. 5 touchdowns on the ground, another 1 touchdown through the air. So if Gibson falters or is injured, oh man, this could be a JD McKissick special here.
Jaret Patterson. Yes.
Not yet.
But man.
No.
Yes.
Potential's there.
Man. Like that. I said it as a joke in the preseason about Jaret Patterson and like adjusting your ranks accordingly because he looked so good in preseason. I said that completely jokingly, but actually being a fan of Jaret Patterson and like partly because he went to my alma mater. I think he's going to have at least a week this season where he's going to have the opportunity, and what he does with it is what I'm really looking for. And if he gets this week for it to be his opportunity this week, then I am super excited because again, this is a defense that you can run against. This is a defense that you can pass and catch, and you could do whatever you want against it. I just hope that by the time he gets touches, it's not like 45-17, and like he's barely he's worked in on first down and just as a play action decoy. Like I hope he gets a chance to actually get run if he gets run, but that's also not trying to not wish injury on Antonio Gibson at the same time, right? But all right, you're up, Pat. What do you got?
I'm going to go to Monday night, the Bills at the Titans. Not because it's the Monday night game, but strictly because of Buffalo, because they are just fucking awesome. Yeah. They are so much fun to watch. And, they just, granted injuries, but they just dismantled Kansas City last week. That Bills defense looks really good. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I mean, they are the number 3 defense against the run. And they're going up against one of the best running backs in the league right now, Derrick Henry. That's the matchup that I really, really am looking forward to. The Bills also have a really good defense. They're a top 3 defense against wide receivers. So, AJ Brown he's definitely not living up to the preseason expectations. I can tell you that much. Julio Jones oft injured. I have a feeling it's going to be a steady dose of Derrick Henry, but is he running into that brick wall or can he run through that brick wall?
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, Josh Allen, who's playing some of the best football I think I've ever seen, between spreading the ball around to Diggs and Sanders and Knox and Beasley and Singletary and Maul. I mean, and running. I mean, he's just getting it done all over the place. So I want to see. I want to see Josh Allen keep it up because the Titans they're not great. I mean, they're 22nd against the quarterback. They are 12th against the run. They are dead last against the wide. Oh boy, dead last against wide receivers. Not great. And the Titans carry a top 3 defense against tight ends. So something has to give here, and I think the Dawson Knox has been a great story. I think the one position I feel like most people thought the Bills lacked was tight end. Knox has kind of proven he can be that guy.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're just going to see the Josh Allen show continue, and we're looking at another 40. Josh Allen putting up 40 plus fantasy points this week, and I'm all for it on Monday night. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, and this is also a game too where like you almost want Tennessee to come out and like punch the Bills in the mouth with Derrick Henry, and out of nowhere, like Derrick Henry within like the first quarter has like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, because at that point, like the Bills are going to do what like the Bills are built to do better, and that's passing the ball, and that's even we made arguments about like Singletary and Moss earlier in the season, and like that's a team that just is not. They're a passing team now. As much as I was like, I really think they're going to come back to a little bit more rushing. They are not rushing the ball nearly as much. They're definitely in a very efficient passing team right now as well. So to see them have to beat a Tennessee defense, which is not very good, but through the air, and have Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans do what they do best, which is just running the ball with Tennessee, it would kind of be the clash of the two best parts of those teams. What I would hate to see is the Bills take an early lead, because I think you get Derrick Henry filtered out a little bit of that game plan, and it's not going to be exciting to watch Tennessee try to pass the ball and come back against the Bills and that Bills defense. It would actually be in my opinion, to be a lot more fun to watch Derrick Henry try and like grind out the game with a lead than and watch the Bills try and reclaim that, the lead. Then, if the Bills go up early, that's bad news written all over it for the Titans.
Yeah. So those are my 2 games that I'm looking forward to: the Sunday morning and the Monday night game this week.
I'm going to go
one more.
Yeah, I'm going to go with one more. Sure, you can say there's homerism written into this one as well. I don't care. Whatever. It's the Cowboys and the Patriots, and I think that game is going to be really interesting. And part of it is because of the dual nature of the Patriots. And I think, it's probably tough to be a Boston fan right now or New England fan right now, because that once mighty empire is now kind of looking like, Rome after the fall of Rome. The Visigoths got all up inside of the Patriots' homeland here. And like the Patriots just allowed, even though they came back and won by shutting out the Texans in the fourth quarter, they almost lost to the Houston Texans, and they made Davis Mills look very good. 21-29, 300 plus yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's great stats for whatchamacallit. That's great stats for a quarterback. Now you're about to have Dak Prescott go in and play against them, and Dak Prescott is like averaging those numbers. Like that's what Dak Prescott is doing right about now, right? He has 13 touchdowns.
Good.
He has 13 touchdowns on the season, so he's just shy of 3 touchdowns per game. And he has 1,368 yards passing. So again, he's just shy of averaging 300 yards a game as well. So, that Cowboys offense has a lot going for it.
Oh, yeah.
That if the Patriots allowed the Texans to almost beat them, right? Like they literally had to come back in the fourth quarter in order to win. If that's the case, I think the Cowboys are going to, put in work against the Patriots. But what makes it fun though is the actual offensive and defensive matchups where the Patriots have been actually pretty good at stopping a lot of teams. They're in the bottom 10 in allowing points to almost every position. And they're the 27th most generous to quarterbacks. So they're top 5
I like the way you worded that one.
Yeah. Whereas the Cowboys though are 4th most generous in allowing points to quarterbacks. So there's going to be a lot of different ways for this game to go. I think the Cowboys pull it out because I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to stop that offense, especially if they weren't able to really stop, they weren't able to really stop the Texans and Davis Mills.
Right.
And Zeke is a whole lot better than Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay. I forgot who else they had rushing the ball for him, but there's going to be a lot of different ways for this game to go. And to me, that's what I find exciting. Not necessarily a game that I want to invest money in because there's so many different ways that this game can go, but it's definitely a game that I'm excited to see what happens because, like I said, I think the Cowboys win this one handily, but the Patriots defense is still pretty good, even though last week they didn't look it. They're still a decent defense. Are they able to get their stuff together at home and slow down the Cowboys' attack some? I wouldn't put it past, Belichick, and I wouldn't put it past McCarthy and the Cowboys to kind of choke. And that's with me being a Cowboys fan and having watched the Cowboys do that 100 times too many, them choking in a game where they should win. So I like that game a lot. You ready for the fact attack there, Pat?
I was just about to ask, are we ready?
I think so.
Okay. All right, the fact attack. For those of you not aware, we scour Twitter to find your questions. We spend 5 minutes. We answer as many as we can. Hopefully, we give you some good advice, and hopefully, this leads you to a W this week. Seth, are we ready?
I think we are.
5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. Go ahead and read the first question.
First question is from @Rucky, RUCKI Bums. Rucky Bums. It's a half PPR question. Who are you starting this week? T. Higgins versus the Lions or Devonta Smith versus the Bucs?
I'm kind of leaning Higgins there because I feel like Cincinnati's going to get you more scoring opportunities than what the Eagles are going to get you against the Bucs. Even though the Bucs secondary has not been good, I'm leaning Higgins for.
So my gut, when I first saw the questions, I was like, T. Higgins, no brainer, all day. Mm-hmm. Now I'm looking at it. The Lions are actually a top 10 defense against the pass. Believe it or not, they've only given up 3 receiving touchdowns on the year. I mean, almost 1,000 yards and almost 90 catches. Compare that with the Bucs. The Bucs have given up over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. So I'm going to actually flip it to Devonta Smith because that Cincy offense, I feel like, has way more weapons than that Philly offense. And that Bucs defense is not good against wide receivers. So I'm going to go Devonta Smith. You're going T. Higgins? Or did I sway you?
You bring up a really good point, but I think I'm – you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with you. And also partly because if you look at what like Chase, Jamar Chase has been able to do and kind of bringing on just like being great as a rookie, man, it's almost hard to see Higgins getting enough work to be successful there when Chase has been coming on and Boyd has been kind of just Boyd the whole time along also.
Yeah.
So right. I think he swayed me, Pat, because right. I like Devonta Smith as being like, if not the one of the top options there, whereas Higgins is like one of three options there.
You're killing the fact attack here. For this next one from @fantasy_Yinzer. Full PPR, Manny Sanders or Adam Thielen for the rest of the season? I'll go first on this one. Like Manny. I'm going to go with Manny Sanders for the rest of the season. He's tied to a better offense. He's tied to a better quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna go Manny Sanders because I think he gives you the bigger boom weeks. He gives you the bigger this is this is a week winning type of situation. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Manny Sanders there also. Thielen's kind of hitting that down wall. Down there.
All right, next from @J_Walnut. You got to pick 2 or 3 this week to start. Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, and Manny Sanders.
Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, and who?
Manny Sanders again. Manny Sanders question.
I mean, I'm gonna probably go with Manny and Keenan.
I was actually leaning Manny Sanders and Antonio Brown, just because I feel like Mike Williams is emerging in LA with the Chargers. It pains me to say that because Keenan Allen's been my guy, but this week I'm going AB and I'm going Manny Sanders. All right, from @BostonStrong213, PPR seasonal league. Which pair of players would you rather have for the rest of the season? Would you rather have Myles Gaskin and Mike Gesicki, or Mike Davis and Dallas Goedert?
Goddard's hurt right now and still has to deal with Ertz, so I'm going to go with Gaskin and Gesicki. But that's like a bench swap type of situation to me.
I'm probably rolling out, if I have them, I'm rolling out both of them this week. They play Jacksonville. Jacksonville's terrible. I expect both of them, but it's it's the rest of the season.
Rest of the season, they're not gonna be in your starting lineup the whole rest of the season.
Gesicki could be,
maybe,
depending on
he has been flashing a little bit.
So yeah, I'm leaving Gaskin and Gesicki as well. All right, last one from @BBorovitz28. Which player would you pick up in place of Kenny Golladay? So I don't know if they're dropping, moving to the IR, but would you pick up Michael Pittman or Darrell Williams in a standard league?
Is this just for this week, or
it just says which player would you pick up? Let's assume it's for this week. I don't know for sure, but let's assume it's for this week. Are you picking up Michael Pittman or Darrell Williams?
I'm gonna take Pittman because I know what he is in that offense. Whereas,
man, the buy low window for Michael Pittman has just closed. I feel like.
Yeah, and
I'm mad because I didn't jump on it in time.
Yeah, and Darrell Williams, could he be a thing? Maybe.
I mean, he will be for a few weeks,
but
not the season.
Well, okay. Will he be a good fantasy thing? I doubt it because he hasn't been like a good fantasy thing to his career. Like he has like opportunities and he's had like some decent plays, but he hasn't been able to put like a whole like resume together. And so I'm not excited for that. I'm more excited for Pittman to be part of that offense.
Agreed with you there. All right. That does it. That's the Fact Attack. Make sure you give the show a follow at GX Fantasy Facts, Seth at FF the At Home Dad, me at Dynasty_Pat. Use the code FACTS at checkout at ViridianGlobal.com. Use the code FACTS when you sign up and deposit at least $10 with our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. Did I get everything? Is that all of it? Did I miss anything? I think that's it.
So. I think you got it.
And with that, good night, everybody.
Catch you on the flip side. And outro music.
Outro music.